Hey, Ocklawahaboy Rocks here. I am crouched down by a used, all set up Lortone 6-inch combo unit. It's all set up, it's got water to it, it's got wheels on it, but it didn't come this way. So this is part of my quest for lapidary equipment. I'm going to take you through getting it all set up and doing a cabochon from cutting all the way to polishing. You can do everything with this one unit and it doesn't look half bad. So let's get into the initial setup and we'll go all the way through to the cabbing. Well, you saw an almost identical unit to this not too long ago. This is a different one. This was a purchase I made. 6-inch combo unit by Lortone. It's in a little bit rougher shape than the one my friend Sarah got that I found for her, but nonetheless still a great deal. So let's look at what kind of shape it's in and what I'm going to need to do. It's got the hood. That's cracked in a few places. Over here too. So we're going to need to reinforce that to preserve it. Has the clamp. That's not the usual, so I'm glad that's there. Blade looks reasonable. There should be some life left on it. See if I can get the camera looking straight down it here. Looks pretty straight. That's good. Bearings seem to turn free. Water. This is one that can always be a little bit of a pain, but it looks like this one, unless there's a bunch of leaks, is set up pretty well. Had some etc. that came with it. So pulley is never a bad thing. And then buffer spindles there, don't have much use for them. As far as a drain goes, there's just a little plug there that I don't think the metal's threaded. I think the plug is just kind of jammed in there. So I'm going to have to do some work there. This wheel I think is okay. This one is not. This is not an expando drum. You can't really, it's a little dark, sorry about that. You can't really see in there, but it's just an old style thumper wheel. And then I don't know if I'm going to need to do anything with this one. I may be able to still just put a piece of leather or something on there and use it, or I may not use it. So, pretty simple unit. Oh, I should also mention lack of motor, but I've got several of those sitting around, so that will not be a problem. First things first, gonna need an adapter on here so that I can run a garden hose. So that's pretty straightforward. Gonna get a garden hose and hook up to it and get some water flowing. Gonna figure that out and figure a motor out. And I think I have some wheels I can use here. All right, over here across the room on one of my junk shelves, I've got some various and sundry wheels. Got a 6-inch expandable drum wheel. Seems to be in reasonably decent shape. I think that arbor is going to be the right size, so I will see if it'll fit on there. Okay, got the hood up. All that is taking this little thing out of here, popping the hood up, and got a belt that looks like it's in decent shape, and then this little guy right here just threads off, and off comes the thumper wheel. And this one, oh, there it goes. Okay, that is not the right size. So my next task is going to be figuring out a bushing. All right, so I've got another thing of wheels here. This one has gotten some weather to it, unfortunately. So pulled out a couple of these wheels. This bushing popped right out. It's got kind of double duty there, so I'm hoping that that'll work. All right, here's my bushing. So, yep, that's too big. So I'm gonna set that part off to the side. That's too big. Okay, I'm gonna pause you because I need both hands. Okay, here we go. This was a pretty cool little bushing that I didn't know I had. Three in one. So this last one, I think is going to be the right size, but once again, I've got to pause you because I need both hands. All right, I've got that bushing tapped in there. Geometry here is a little tight. There we go. All right. Let's see if we can get that. That is snug. This is not. So that's got to be tightened too. Okay, once again, put you down so I can use both hands. All right, thanks to having a lot of extra junk on hand for just in case I might need it someday, I now have a used expandable drum mounted on here. I think these things are currently going for about 80 bucks. So since I paid 50 for the unit, I'm glad to just have had one to put on here. Got that silicon carbide wheel tightened down, and got this ready to screw this end plate back on. Now, I don't think there's going to be any putting belts on over that end plate. There's not enough room to get a 3-inch belt to snake down in there. I have a feeling I'll be running with that off most of the time. All right, so that's that. Get my little, put this over here. Don't want to lose this little one. It is not a standard little thing that you're going to pick up at the hardware store. So that's probably all for right now. Got my little adapter on, got my wheel on, and everything's good. Life is good. All right, so now, as mentioned, I need to get water into this fitting. I have a hose right here, and I've got just a little piece of tubing that I was using to get water to my ultrasonic cleaner, which then drains out the back here. It was sitting right here. So I have this hose that goes on around here to a spigot up there. So I've got the option of looking through the various stuff I have, and maybe I have a longer hose that can, sorry about right in the light. Yeah, I can put a splitter on a longer hose and go directly into here, and then run this piece of tubing. You can use it both for this and putting water in the saw. I could put the splitter right here and then custom make a little section of hose to go over to here. We'll just have to see what parts and pieces I have around. All right, I decided to go ahead and put the splitter there. So I've got the two valves. I'm going to need a longer piece of some kind of tubing. And then I found this piece of hose half buried in the yard. So that is going to get cut to length and then fit into that. So I'm gonna measure once and cut twice and get this set up. All right, how many of y'all saw it when I didn't? This isn't gonna work. So I need to find either a bigger piece of hose, which I don't think I have, or the appropriate size one of these. I think I am going to switch gears, go find a motor to put on this thing, and probably have Amazon bring me one of these. Okay, I had 5 or 6 different motors in here. I think this is the one I'm going to go with. It's a 1/4 horse, 1725 RPM. I think I paid about 40 bucks for this contraption. Anytime I can find something like this with a working motor on it, I get it. So this motor is already wired and switched. It runs. Sounds great. So I don't need this buffer. So I'll have a, kind of arbor thing here that I could repurpose down the line if I wanted to. But I'm going to see if I can get this motor mounted on that plate. I think I can. And I will be ready to give this a spin. And I'm really close. I just ordered day after tomorrow. My hose fittings will be here. All right, it is 2 days after I got the motor wired up and working. I now have the hose fittings. I need to do the water. I'm not going to just switch out and make a custom hose that goes right on here. I'm going to leave this adapter on because I want to be able to take this machine with me and hook up to any garden hose. So that's what I need. So I will use the male end like is on the end of a normal garden hose. And I will hook it up here. And then I think I need a longer focus monster. There we go. I'll need a longer piece of tubing so I can get over here to put water in my ultrasonic cleaner, and then also use that when the saw needs water. So I can get all of this cleaned up who knows if this blade is still good or not. Looks like it should be, and I'll get to cutting something. Alright, I've got water, and yes, I know the potential for a leak and my electric being right there. This whole circuit's ground fault protected, so I'll turn this on. Hopefully there'll be no leak and I'll be all set. So yeah, water's there. I got me another piece here to get water where I need it. I went to check how big my arbor size was. So I took this panel off and found this is the original price tag. This is not what I paid, but I often see these units going for this much. It wouldn't be worth it to me. When I go to wrap this up, I'll give you a rundown of how much I've got in this thing. But we're not there yet because it hasn't actually cut a rock yet. So I don't know if I'm done buying things for it. But we are about to go try and pick out a piece of material, turn the water on, and see what it'll do. Alright, I've got a piece of, I don't remember if this is amethyst sage or purple cow from I think it's the amethyst sage that I bought at the polka dotted agate mine. So I'm going to cut a couple pieces off of this freehand and pick one to make a cab out of. Alright, so that was just like rubbing all that for that little bit of a cut. So I think my blade might be done. So it's time to order some blades. Okay, I got some cheapo Chinese blades in, which will do for the initial cutting on this. And it should come as no surprise when you're working on a project like this. You have to do a rethink sometimes. Where this wheel was, it made it almost impossible to get the belts off and on. So what I ended up having to do, turn on some light here. That shaft there is what the belt butts up against, and I ended up having to drill out just a little bit of the wheel there so it would slide more on, but it's still on there good and tight. And down in there I had to then get a narrow hex nut to go on to hold it on. So it's been probably 4 or 5 days since I last tried to cut this rock, and the blade was too dull. I'm going to ping this blade. It should still have some life left in it, but I just decided to throw that one on, and I'll get around to pinging this one. And see if it's got any life left in it. All right, I'm going to put you on the tripod and I'm going to cut this rock. Okay, that resembled work. That was obviously either not a good blade for that saw or not a good saw for this hard of material, but I have a piece that I can make a cab out of. All right, I've got a teardrop cab marked out of this material here. So I'm going to trim that down and start cabbing. I have sanded this piece to 400, so I need to go get some 600 grit up to 1,000 grit pads or belts to put on there, and I also need to go see if I can get a leather pad glued down to this. We'll see if that's going to work or not to polish it. Alright, this pad I ordered was not quite what I expected. It's going to be a little bumpy on there. I was expecting a thicker leather pad. So I will put some cerium oxide on there and see if I can do anything with this. Alright, a look at the polished cab of this amethyst sage. The cut surface that I took this one from is what it's leaning on. So all of that polish, shaping, cutting, all of the steps on the one Lortone combo unit. So just give you an idea of that you can do everything to have a complete cab on one little unit, no other machines involved. Okay, so now that we're done with the cab, let's talk money a little bit if you're looking at getting into something like this. I found I think I showed you, found the initial price tag on this for $600. It did not sell for that. I ended up getting this unit for $50, but you know, no motor. I had gotten that for $40. The blade was pretty well trashed, so I put a $4 blade on here. It is trash, so I'm probably gonna have to get a $50 or $60 blade to put on there. So we got 50 for the unit, 40 for the motor. I'm gonna probably 60 for the blade, so that's getting up to 150. I had an expandable wheel that did not come with it, but these are about 70 if you don't have them. It came with the little polishing thing, some brass fittings. I probably spent about $20 for different brass fittings, hose splitter, that kind of stuff. So that brings it up to 170. But I think that's pretty much all I had to spend money for on this unit. So if you're trying to get into lapidary on a budget, a used unit like this, if you're a little bit handy, might be the way to go. You've already seen the one I found for my friend Sarah. It did come with the motor. It did come with the expandable drum, and hers was $30, and her saw blade was even good. So just a few water fittings, probably for under $60, she had a completely set up unit. So I didn't get into this one. I got about $100 more than that in mine. But if you're thinking about something like one of the all you need type things, the little budget brand new units that start, I don't know, $500 to $700. I hadn't priced them lately. This is still far, far less than that, and in my opinion, a little bit better unit. So hope you enjoy this. Hope you saw kind of all, maybe not every single step, but there's a lot of steps involved in getting something like this set up where you can use it. And I've got it set up with a garden hose input here so that I can pretty much take it anywhere I want to use it. So I will see you next time.